Welcome to the Thriving Soulpreneur podcast. This is a space where we talk about human design, spirituality, and neuroscience, all applied to business and money. My purpose is to help struggling solopreneurs to run sustainable businesses, to become financially resilient, and to create powerful change within their communities and beyond. I am your host, Andrea Niño de Guzman, a numbers girl and neuro geek who left the corporate world to do what she does best, to catalyze transformations. I am thrilled and honored to have you here, and I really hope to serve you in the best way possible. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new episode. Andrea here. It's great to have you here in the podcast. Okay, so we're doing something totally different today. And originally, I intended to do an episode around anger and where anger lives in the human design chart. This is something that I've been experiencing a lot recently. But then something happened today that I felt it was much more powerful, raw, authentic, and I felt that needed to be shared. So I'm just going to go with it. Like I said, it's just me sharing an experience that happened to me today, totally unscripted. And then we're just going to see where that leads us, we're going to see where the conversation leads us. Okay. So bear with me. All right. So if you've worked with me before, you know that I'm a huge proponent of morning rituals and, starting your day with like taking time for yourself to connect to your intuition instead of starting the day, right out the get-go and feeling, all crazy and stressed out and checking messages and emails and whatnot. So this morning was no different. I started out my day with, a very simple meditation and then just a moment in silence. And when I do that, my way of connecting to my silence or my way of connecting within is just by listening to recording of the ocean. Don't ask me why, but the ocean really helps me connect deep within. Maybe it's from a past life. I don't know. I don't know what I have with the ocean, but for me, it's like coming home. So as I was listening to it, usually when that happens, I see myself either at a house or at an apartment with a view towards, the beach. But this time, something called my attention, my imagination, and it just placed me like right on the beach. And then somebody was next to me. I was like, okay, this is weird. This is different. Let's see who this is. And because I felt this presence next to me, and it was this woman who was much older than I was. She had, long between black and gray, flowy hair. Beautiful smile, calming smile on her face. She was just so happy. Wearing jeans, obviously barefoot, and a white shirt, and with a bunch of crystals between necklaces and rings and bracelets and whatnot. And I could not help but really notice the warmth in her presence. And she was just so happy. She was just very not laid back, but more of like she was very comfortable with her sense, with herself in her essence. She was just very, very easy to talk to. And we didn't talk per se. Like I would notice her smile. I would notice her presence. And then when I asked her who she was, she told me, "I'm your future you." That's what I understood. I'm your future you. And this hit me really, it struck me because generally in past exercises, when I've consciously imagined my future self, I imagined her like as this, power woman executive with like sky high stilettos and, very stylish clothes or like, a very fitting black little dress and lots of makeup, but with this power walk where she was just like going places. If you've seen me in real life, and you know that I hang out in sweats and gym clothes most of the time, and I'm definitely not stylish, I'm very classical. I don't know where this, very overly produced woman comes from, but that's how I imagined her. So it was very refreshing to see this future self show up as, somebody who was just, no makeup, very raw, very authentic, very warm, and very loving at the same time. And I felt quite at home with her. It was like, for me, it wasn't a grandma feeling. It was more like a big mama feeling that you just want to hug, and she's just going to hold you. She may not say anything, but just her presence is going to make you feel like everything's going to be all right. That's how it felt when I was with her. So in my mind, as once I noticed and I understood who she was, I was saying, okay, great, thanks. It's great you're here. I'm about to launch something. My mind is racing a million thoughts a minute right now. And I need to ask you questions because I want to know how you do it. Like that was the intention behind what was going on in my mind as I was connecting to her. And she would just look at me and she would smile, and she wouldn't say anything, but telepathically, it was as if she was saying, just shh, calm down, kind of like shut up, calm down, slow down a little bit. And I just kept on like wanting to have answers to all my questions of the hows and the whys and the whens and the whos. And all I kept on getting back was like, shh, just be. And she would just like calm me down with her presence, and she would just tell me, just be. And what I'm going to share with you is beyond, just this encounter, is a little bit of the dialogue that we had, because we ended up having this amazing, I'm going to say conversation, or I just had this amazing experience with her. And I don't know how to phrase it. I don't know if it's a download. I don't know if it's just a deep connection that I just experienced with my inner self. I don't know what it is, honestly. But when this finished, I just felt that I needed to share it with everybody, because it applies to a lot of us that are going through a lot of transition in this period. So I'm just going to make the best out of it. I'm going to do my best to explain what was happening. So here she is, my future self shushing me and just telling me to just be, and to just like gently nudging me to just be. And the first thing she said was silence your mind. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to silence my mind. And then she just became more specific. And then she said, silence everything that you're thinking about what others are going to say about you. Silence all your worries about how others are going to perceive you. And I just went on to do that. And then she said, okay, great. Now silence all the expectations that you're holding from the breast. All the expectations that you feel that other people have on you. Just silence them. And I said, okay. And then she said, trust. Trust. Give yourself permission to just trust and to just be. And with that, as that was happening, I could feel my mind kind of like shutting down. I stopped with the overthinking, with the questioning, with the analysis, and I connected to my body, and I could feel my heart beating so loud and just so rapidly, because I was very excited and I felt like this energy inside of me. And she said, okay, great. Now give yourself permission to birth that which is brewing from within. And I could feel it. It felt like I had this thing in my throat. It was not a lump, but it was like this thing that just wanted to come out, but I couldn't let it come out. And I tried to explain that to her, like, I don't know how. And then she said, you're just barely scratching the surface of all the wisdom that has yet to be uncovered. But you can't do it with your mind. There is no how. You just need to trust. So give yourself permission to open up and listen with your body. See with your heart. See the unseen. See beyond the obvious. You need to feel it with your heart. And just have courage to trust your vision. And this was, mind-blowing, because what she was telling me was kind of like giving me the exact instructions for me to just connect and stay connected from within. The see from within, see beyond the obvious. It was just like this constant reminder of just listen to what your body's telling you. See from within, see within your body to see what is being expressed. And what happened was I saw myself. So I went from just feeling this thing in my heart and this excitement to seeing myself sitting on top of this huge rock, this egg-shaped rock. And it was totally overwhelming, very scary because it was so big. It was big, it was overwhelming. I saw myself as a tiny speck compared to this gigantic rock. And in that second, when I asked, what is this or where am I? The answer that I got back was, it's your genius. And the first reaction was like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. No, that's not my genius. And she was like, stop it. Stop questioning. Stop doubting. Stop wondering how, why, or when. Just go beyond. It's your genius. And see it. Sense it. It's right here. And then she asked, are you ready to receive it? Are you ready to let it in? And my response to that, my immediate response was like, no, this is too big. I can't manage. If this is my genius, I can't manage something that big. There is no way I can do this. And then what she said was, yes, I know it's overwhelming. And it's overwhelming because you've spent so much time being small. And it's time now to go back to your true size. So are you going to allow yourself to grow back to your original size? And then I said, okay, let's do this. Let's try this. And I saw myself growing. You would think I was like on drugs or something if somebody hears this episode, but I'm truly being honest with you. So I saw myself growing into this gigantic image of me. It's Andrea, but 100 times, 1,000 times her size, right? So I just kept on growing and I just kept on expanding and I just kept on receiving her instructions. And it was telling me, remove your limits, remove the ceilings, go beyond your expectations, just grow. And it was just a constant reminder, remove your limits, remove your ceilings, remove the expectations, go beyond the expectations and just grow. Go beyond your expectations and just grow. Just grow. Allow yourself to grow. And as she said that, I just kept on growing and growing and growing and growing. And it got to the point where I was just so big that gigantic rock that I originally saw, that genius, all of a sudden it was so small. It was probably the size of a small seed. It was tiny. I could just squish it. And when she saw that, how I realized that I was way bigger than my genius, than, that huge, overwhelming rock. Then she said, never let anybody doubt your greatness ever again. This is your true size and shape. You are big, you are expansive. And just feel comfortable in your space. You are bigger than your fears. You are bigger than your problems. You are bigger than your obstacles. So don't make yourself small ever again. Because when you are in your full power, when you are in your greatness, you're able to see things that others don't. You're able to see things that can't be seen when you are smaller, when you feel like you're drowning. And it's really a matter of perspective. So the question is, are you willing to see it from your greatness? Or do you want to see it from your victimhood when you shrink back down again? Because at the end of the day, the choice is yours. And that was the end of the connection that I had with her. So why am I sharing this moment that I had in my moment of silence this morning with you? The reason why I'm saying this is because I talk a lot about hiding. I talk to those hiding entrepreneurs. I talk to those people who feel like they're drowning. Maybe drowning with issues, drowning with problems, drowning with debt, drowning with fear, where we all know what we're supposed to do. We all know that we're supposed to market. We all know that we're supposed to grow a business. But for some reason, we just never put ourselves out there and we just end up hiding. We know that we are immensely qualified. We are incredibly talented, but we keep on hiding. And we hide because it's scary. We hide because it's scary to take that first step where you don't really know where you're going to land, where you don't really know for certain if those plans that you had are going to be successful or not, where you don't really know what's going to be the next step after that. And I've been through many situations, many financial situations, especially this year, where I went from having a lot of money, or from making a lot of money in a month, to also losing everything in a month. Everything. You could say it was the being at the wrong place at the wrong time. One of our accounts got hacked, and we literally woke up one morning with 0 funds. And I was basically left with a bunch of bills to pay, a bunch of debt to pay, obviously a bunch of obligations to pay, and with no more than maybe $150, $200 for the entire month. So I know what it's like. I know what it's like to feel so stressed out, to feel so overwhelmed by what needs to be done, to feel like you don't have any power to change the situation. I know what it's like to maybe even fall victim to the circumstances, and how that leads you also to hiding because you don't want to mess up yet one more time. And with that said, I feel that what she's telling us, or what my future self is telling us, is sharing with us, is that we always have a choice. And that no matter how trapped we feel in the circumstances, we always have a choice as to how we want to see this, the perspective that we want to see it. And from where do we want to see it? Am I going to see it from me playing small, from me being little, from me being stuck in my circumstance, which is probably what I had been doing for much of last month when this incident happened, of, feeling this fear of, or maybe even being stuck in survival mode of, how am I going to make it through? I need to make money, and not surrendering, not trusting to my guides and to the universe, and not trusting that in the end it could work out. Or having that, back and forth of, yes, there are days where I trust, and then there are days where I'm just so freaked out and afraid and stressed out that there is no trusting and there is no surrendering. I know what it's like, and I've been there. So we could either see it from that perspective of playing small, or we could see it from our full greatness, from our full authentic self, from that giant that is really within us. That giant that can achieve and can see everything. And when I connected to that bigness in me, that this is you are big, and you're meant to fully occupy your space. You're not meant to be small. You're meant to be fully big and expansive. It connected me to a sense of freedom of, I have a choice, and I always have a choice. I have a choice in the opportunities that I choose to see. I have a choice in how I choose to react to any situation, and how I choose to engage with the people that I'm connecting with in the moment, whether it's clients, even my partner, especially with the money situation, with my kids, with my family. I always have a choice. And I just wanted to drop this vibe with you because, as coaches, and as, whether we're healers, whether we're business coaches, life coaches, or basically any service professional, sometimes we can be very hard on ourselves. Yes, we're amazing at helping others, at listening to others, but we can be incredibly harsh with what's going on with us. And, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to fail, or we don't give ourselves enough leeway when things aren't going as expected, or when we encounter such situations. I know I've experienced it firsthand. I can't tell you how many days I've went from a lot of anger, a lot of very dark thoughts, of a lot of hatred, a lot of resentment because of what happened, where I was completely living in a stance of victim of this is happening to me. And also having that awareness and then choosing. But then it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I think it's very necessary for all of us to have that open conversation that, yes, it does happen. Yes, yes, we help people. We help people through their problems, but that doesn't mean that we never encounter problems. And that does not mean that we never, that we always know how to engage with our problems, because with every experience, we're discovering a little bit more about ourselves. But what we do know, and what we can't lose sight of, is that we always have a choice. And sometimes we're going to make the best choice. And then there are other times where we're not going to make the best choice. And maybe we're going to lash out at somebody, again, expressing that anger. But through that shadow, by walking through that shadow, we can also reach our gift. And that's also something that we need to value in our experience. So going back to why I wanted to share this with you is that, one, I see you. You're not alone. If you're struggling, I hear you. And let's talk. If you're having a bad month, if you are so scared about how you're going to make money this month, if you have no idea how you are going to launch, if you feel that you're putting yourself in the way, or you're your biggest obstacle between you and your vision, reach out. Let's talk. Because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to play small. I know what it's like to play safe or to even hide. I know. And I also know how it feels like when you fully connect to your greatness and you act and you make decisions and you work your business from this place of service and of extreme authenticity, where there is no room for fears or expectations or what other people are going to think or say about you, or worries or judgment. It's just you sharing from your heart. It's just you connecting from your point of service. So I know what it's like. And I would love to open and use this episode to have those open and authentic conversations where, yes, sometimes it's really nice and pretty, and other times it's not so nice and pretty. But that doesn't mean that we're flawed, that we're broken, that we need fixing. It's just part of us being human, of us traveling through our path, of us doing the work to fully connect with ourself, with our authentic self, again and again and again. So yeah, that's everything that I wanted to share. Going through this morning when it happened was so amazing. Like I said, I don't know if it's a download. I don't think I channeled anything. I just really, really connected from within. But I felt that it was powerful, that I had to share it with you, and I hope you found value in it. And please reach out. Send me that message. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at ang.transformationcatalyst. Reach out. Let's have those conversations. And let's share not just the perfect side of the coaching, the beautiful side of the coaching, but I think it's also healthy to share those struggles when we dance with our shadows and when sometimes it's not pretty. Because behind that, there's that beautiful choice that we can always make. All right. Okay. So that marks the end of this episode. It's Friday. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I'm sending you so much love from the bottom of my heart. And I can't wait to read your messages, and I will see you next week with more insights, more tidbits of human design, with how to use human design with business, how to use human design with money. And I will be sharing a little bit more of that program that I'm thinking about launching within the next few weeks. All right. Big hug to everybody. Take care. Bye.